used to imagine this, a house with a mom and a dad, maybe a dog, a goldfish, and me. We would live on a street with a lot of other kids, and there's like a swing in the backyard and a bike. It's like I would walk home from school and my mom leaves me a note on the kitchen table saying, "I left a sandwich for you in the fridge, not too many cookies. Love you, Mom." Yeah, sure, I wanted that. I would have liked it to be like them, but it was never like that in my house, okay? So I guess I was in kind of a hurry to grow up, and guys started noticing me for the past year or so. It was nice. I liked it. My mom's been sad, since my dad left. She met this guy and he's been at the house all the time, like taking care of her. And he's such a creep. She didn't believe me that he kept trying to come into the bathroom when I'm in there. And I woke up that night and he's like on top of me. And I started screaming and pushed him and he hit me. My mom didn't do anything about it. Nothing. I took off. I hung around the mall for a while and there were a bunch of guys there and stuff. And then I got a ride from this one guy who's really nice, and he let me stay in his apartment for a while. He took me shopping, got me some new clothes, and we went out to a real restaurant. He said he loved me. I thought this was everything I wanted. Well, until he told me that if I loved him, I would help make money for us by having sex. And he told me that I couldn't leave him because I owed him. Then he introduced me to a couple of other girls and we all went into different places all together, and he was going to show me how we'd all make money. He said we were like a family, staying in motels, and I was like supposed to go out with the other girls. He had some friends come by the hotel, and at first he told me to have sex with one of them, and I didn't want to. So his friend raped me. Later he said, "That wouldn't have happened if you'd just listened to me." Afterwards he started picking my clothes out, he told me what to wear, and he made me go out on the streets. I was supposed to meet my first John. I didn't want to do it. I walked around the streets back and forth for hours, hiding until the morning. Our quota was $500, but I had only made $50 that night, which he made me give to him. He beat me in front of the other girls and made me go outside until I got him the money. This is the same guy that took me out to eat, listened to me when I complained about my mom. He gave me words of advice. But I saw a side of him later that, it scared me. And what could I do? Who would believe me if I told them?
Andrea is no different than any other 14-year-old girl. We've seen victims as young as 11 turned out on the streets to work in the sex trade. It's a $32 billion a year industry worldwide, and it's happening right in our own backyard. We like to think that childhood and our teenage years are happy, that we can grow up, go to school, graduate, and go on to lead productive lives. But what happens when a girl doesn't have that kind of loving support? What happens when that girl is unhappy and leaves her home? When her home is not a home, but a place where she is abused, exploited, or put to work to support the family? Regardless of the reason, these are the kinds of things that are happening right now on our streets and in our neighborhoods. When Andrea was picked up by sheriff's deputies, it didn't take long before they were able to identify her and contact her mother. But there was still a lot of work to do. Authorities had to determine whether she could actually go home. A lot of girls like Andrea have been given drugs, which helps them mask what's going on, but then they have ongoing issues as a result and need to be treated for addictions. Not too long ago, law enforcement had no choice but to treat these young girls as criminals. But now, we know that's not the case. The average age that a pimp recruits a girl into prostitution is 12 to 14 years old. And these pimps are traffickers. They know how to target the girls who are the most vulnerable. Their greatest vulnerability is their age. 12 to 14-year-olds are still naive about the world. So the danger is compounded for girls who have an unstable home life and those who are already victims of sexual abuse. 65% of the buyers that go on the internet are more responsive if the ads have age descriptors like young or barely legal attached to them. We see sex slaves working in our county and on our city streets, But even more so, our youth are being recruited in our county and then taken to places like Long Beach, Las Vegas, and so on. So even though we may not see these young girls on our streets, they are being recruited from our hometowns and moved out. And the children who have been sex trafficked are re-victimized by a system that will incarcerate them or put them in temporary holding facilities. These young ladies have seen humanity at its worst. Trust has been crippled, and the trauma continues with being treated as criminals. These victims, these survivors, need a safe house. This is the face of modern-day slavery that's happening right here in Riverside County. Law enforcement, service providers, medical and legal professionals have a resource at SafeHouse. SafeHouse has programs that help survivors of trafficking with effective counseling, drug and alcohol treatment, rehabilitation, schooling, and the kind of help that can put families back together whenever possible. It's a safe and home-like environment where youth are given a second chance and a path to a better life. We can help them at SafeHouse. These girls need SafeHouse to learn that there are better ways, that life can be good, and they can learn to trust again. SafeHouse is a nonprofit organization that depends on your donations to help these girls reclaim their lives and get back on the right track. But we can't do it without you.